Director's Take, Balancing Heroes and Matchmaking, a blog from Aaron Keller. A few weeks ago, we published the first in this series of updates on the game. It's crazy how much has happened since then. We launched Season 3, announced a collab with One Punch Man, and now dating Genji. And now I'm dating Genji. I feel so lucky. Okay, dude. I wanted to dive into two topics today. Season 3 balance and the matchmaker. Oh boy. We feel that the start of Season 3 is in a much better state of balance than the start of Season 2. Agreed. It is definitely much, much better. I think there's a few tweaks to be had, but overall, very good. We hear from players that balance is the best it has been since the launch of Overwatch 2, while the game feels fresh based on all the changes we made. It's been great watching that discussion, and to foster it, I'd like to give a bit more details and a little bit less commentary. Let's look at the support role first. On the positive side, most supports are viable in nearly every skill tier. Brig has really popped this season and has the highest win rate nearly at all skill tiers except for top 500, where Zen takes the lead. Oh, so I nailed it. I told everyone that if you buffed Brig would actually become insanely good, which she already was good. The meta just didn't play into her favor. And also, I told everybody that Zen was insanely strong, and I said that Discord Orb gets way too much value for just literally existing on a tank. So, Brig is the top for every skill tier except top 500, where Zen takes the lead. Oh, I'd say that's 2 for 2. With both averaging out to a nearly 55% win rate. You know what the best part is? Is these two actually pair really well in top 500. Brig and Zen. With ball comps, they actually pair together really, really well. So, I'll pat myself on the back very often, but I'm just saying, dude, I called this from light years away. I also called a couple other things, like with Ball and Ryan. Let's see what happens. On the other end of the spectrum are Kiriko and Moira at around 45%. Okay, this is actually very interesting because Moira, I feel, is probably the weakest support in the game, contrary to what people on TikTok believe. And Kiriko has been nerfed so many times. The only thing that I thought that Kiriko brought to the table more than anything is her utility was really, really strong. Because her Suzu is literally necessary to deal with Ana. And without Ana, Kiriko isn't that good, but because Ana exists, Kiriko's then good. So if people aren't playing as much Ana, or just decide to mirror Ana, or they don't play Ana at all, they play Zen and they play Brig, there's actually not a need to have Kiriko because her damage isn't that high. Zen puts out more damage, Brig puts out more damage, Ana puts out more damage. The only thing Kiriko does is duels really, really well with the headshots because consistently in fights, she doesn't do that much damage. The 40 damage is just too low. You need to hit consistent headshots, and not many players can do that, even at the highest rank. So I'm actually a little surprised Kiriko's that low, but I'm not surprised at Moira. This goes to show heroes with the highest win rates aren't always the heroes that are the most, or played. Sorry, the highest win rates aren't always the heroes that are played the most. That's always been true, though. The only one I'll give you is Kiriko, but the reason why people think Kiriko's so good is because she balances out Ana. But if people are just not playing Ana, then there's not really a reason to play Kiriko. Plus, the mobility of Kiriko isn't really that useful right now because she just doesn't do enough damage to protect herself against, like, Ball. And she doesn't heal Ball very well. Brig and Zen actually heal better. When we look at who is actually being played, the top supports are Ana, Kiriko, and Mercy for nearly all skill tiers until Silver and Bronze. Not surprising on Ana and Kiriko and Mercy at all. Mercy's actually still really good. Where Moira becomes picked quite a bit. There's the TikTok comments. They all play Moira because she does so much damage. Because you can't aim. You just throw a skill orb and then they die. Like it's a different universe. I also think that probably Ryan dominates here. It's counterintuitive that Kiriko has such a high pick rate at the highest level of plays, but such a low win rate. And Brig has such a high win rate, but a mediocre play rate. This is changing. This has been changing for a little bit. So, yes, it's low right now, but I also think that people haven't seen what's meta, like, with their eyes, and it's only been like a revolving meta in game. So like if Ball was just being played, you'd see Brig Zen. But because some people play like Rein, Ramatra, and stuff like that, you weren't always going to play Brig. Kiriko works in the Ball comp and in the Rein comps and in the Ramatra comps and in the Sigma comps, where Brig only works in some of them. So that's why she's not picked as much, but she'll win those games that she's played. While it would be fun to pick on this group, we tend to think that highly skilled players are continuing to pick certain heroes for good reasons, and we're getting additional metrics from maps, team comps, and team fights to try and understand this. It is fruitful to expect more about it. I can actually sit down and explain it to you guys if you'd like. Like, I'm dead. Like, if you have maps like Circuit Royale where you play Sigma, Brig is actually kind of decent, but like Kiriko's also really good too. If you play maps where you play Ball, Brig is just going to be insane. Zen is just good everywhere. But if you play Rein comps, some people play Rein with double main support, Ana, and then like Ana and then Kiriko or something like that, because you can cleanse their nades and pump healing. But the Lucio is obviously the best version, but a lot of people don't play Lucio, and also they don't know how to play Lucio Rush. So that's a little bit different. But regardless, though, the reason why things like Brig don't have a high pick rate is because the Brig is good in Ball comps and slow pace comps. Like if Hog was meta again, and Ana wasn't good, you could probably end up seeing Brig Zen really being picked. But Ball is the key. Ball is the key to seeing Brig being picked more often. If it was more Rush and more heavy tanks, then you see less Brig, because Brig doesn't do well against Rush comps because she just gets destroyed up close. This is why I told everybody Brig isn't actually bad. The meta just didn't favor her. Okay, anyways. Tanks. Tanks are in a great spot right now. It's almost hard to pick a bad tank. Yeah, true. Actually, that's Zarya. Roadhog Zarya is probably the only two I would think, but even Roadhog's not that bad. Roadhog's actually kind of a sleeper pick. At the top end, Reinhardt has the highest win rate of the tanks for most tiers, reaching at about 58% in bronze through platinum. Okay. At masters and above, Sigma edges him out and sits at 55% in top 500. Wait. Masters and above, Sigma edges him out and sits at... Wait, so does Sigma edge him out in Masters and above or top 500? Because those are very different skills. Very, very different skills. But that's about what I expected. Ryan is dominant. I actually made this exact prediction before and said Ryan probably dominates bronze through diamond. And then once you hit Masters, Ryan falls off quite a bit because he doesn't have the sustain. He has all these new tools. He has the Fire Strike, you know, the longer Shatter and stuff like that. But at the high level play, you don't actually get to use those that often. They're not that useful. Still good. Still a good pick, but not like a dominant pick. So not surprised by that at all. Hog is struggling a bit, even though there are still situations he can be successful. I think this is mostly player perception around losing the one shot. He's just too weak now. But with time and a good meta, I think he could come back. Winston and Zarya can perform well at certain ranks, and the rest of the roster is solid across all skill tiers. I wonder what rank is for Winston and Zarya. Wrecking Ball is probably the biggest tank topic in the community right now, with takes varying. Some think he's overpowered, others feels he's in a good spot, and still others think both, and flip-flop back and forth. That's me, kinda. I actually think that he's a little... I think that if you got rid of his arming time buff, I think he'd be okay. Even then, though, it's still a little bit spooky. His win rate is among the top 3 to 4 tanks at most tiers, and bounces between 51 and 55%. His pick rate is lower in the metal ranks, increasing as player skill rises. By the top 500, he is far and away the most picked tank. We think this has enabled other heroes to stand out in the current meta along with Wrecking Ball, but we are keeping an eye on him, and we want to make sure that players don't get fatigued by seeing too much of the little guy. Wait, I called that too. I literally said once you got to Masters and above, Wrecking Ball takes over for Ryan. Do you watch these, Aaron? Do you? Do you? man, there's been some big swings in the damage roll. There are two stories here. From a numbers perspective, DPS feels fairly balanced across the board. And Season 3 has been called the season of hit scan by many of you, or possibly the season of Cassidy. Changes to Sojourn as well as buffs to a few other characters have opened a new set of heroes for people to play. Cassidy, Pharah, Widowmaker, and Tracer have all risen in playtime. Widowmaker went up. Monka W. Didn't we realize she was a problem in Season 2? In fact, Cassidy is the most picked hero by a huge margin at all ranks except for top 500 where he's tied with Tracer. That seems about right. And he continues to move up. Around 30% of matches have a Cassidy on both sides. Playing besides Symmetra, it's harder to talk about the most powerful heroes for the DPS at the middle to higher ranks. Okay, real talk. Other than the magnetic grenade, which is kind of annoying, for a lot of people, Cassidy is just kind of a traditional Overwatch hero. It feels fair. You don't feel like you got cheesed. The grenade feels cheesy, but like if someone 3-taps you on Cassidy, you don't feel like you got out. You're like, oh, they fucking double mined me on Junkrat. Widowmaker across the map. What am I supposed to do? I can't even see them. Random Hanzo air. Like, it feels fair. Like, when you die to a Cassidy from his left clicks, it feels fair. And I think that's why people like the current DPS meta. Actually, low-key, I think Sojourn's actually really strong, but people haven't realized because they don't want to play Sojourn anymore. And it was kind of like the same thing that happened on Overwatch 1, where Double Shield was still the best comp, but everyone started playing Hog and Sigma because even though you could beat the Double Shield comp or the Hog Sigma comp with Double Shield, it was just everyone played Double Shield for a year and a half and was bored of it. So everyone wanted to play something else, so they just started playing whatever. I think Sojourn has actually fallen in the same trap. Anyways, the band that has the most damage the band has the most damage heroes falls within. Wait, the band that has the most damage falls within is between a 47 and 53% win rate. Pharah, Widow, Tracer, and Sim, however, hover around the top, but things shift around almost daily at low ranks. The top heroes by win rate are Symmetra and Torbjorn. Ah, the good old builders. It's always Symmetra and Torbjorn. In fact, Symmetra typically has the highest win rate in the game for all roles at all ranks except Masters and above. Yeah, that sounds about right. Sombra is at the low end of the power, did have a significant lift this season, and has a win rate around 46% at Diamond and above. Yeah, that sounds about right. Sombra's actually not that bad. I actually think people just don't want to play Sombra against Ball, even though she's a good pick. Just because they don't want to play Sombra. Unless Sombra's a dominant meta pick, just people don't like playing Sombra. And people don't like playing against Sombra either. With the current state of the game, we're not looking at doing balance changes until our mid-season patch. Fair, honestly. We made some big changes to the matchmaker this season. The primary goal was to optimize pairing of players to minimize the MMR difference within a specific role. So if your tank was gold, their tank would be gold. That's what they were trying to do. But you could have DPS that are diamond. You know, like your DPS could be diamond, their DPS could be diamond, but both your tanks are gold. Does that make sense? For example, when making matches, we put more emphasis on the DPS players on each team being closer in skill than we do for the DPS players on one team to be matched. Wait a minute. Whoa. For example, when making matches, we put more emphasis on the DPS players on each team being closer in skill than we do for the DPS players on one team being evenly matched with the tank players on the other. Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense. This has worked, and the matches feel much tighter skill delta. Wait. This has worked, and matches have a much tighter skill delta between players of the same role. Yes, but this has also caused, like, you get, like, plat players in GM games. Because, like, you'll have, like, plat support in GM tank, you know? There have been some other positive effects to these changes. In ranked, queue times have dropped, and queue times have dropped, and for high skill matches, they've dropped significantly. Okay, so, hot take. I actually like this, in a lot of ways. Yeah, it's shit sometimes, and I wish they could keep tuning it to make it better, but I would much rather have fast queues and fast games then sit 15 to 20 minutes in queue just to get what is, quote, a balanced game, get rolled on push in 3 minutes, and then move on. Like, the idea of a balanced game is bullshit. It doesn't actually happen that often. Like you still get, like, 1 out of 4 games, you still get, like, the unbalanced as fuck game. You got Smurf accounts, alt accounts, you know, people that are queuing together. You know, your team is like 4 out of voice. You got 3 1-tricks. They got a perfect team comp. It doesn't exist. It's actually a fallacy, you know? So if I could just get in and get into the next game really fast, I think that's way better. Average match quality has also risen across the board. Also, matches with longer queue times are typically of higher quality now than they were previously. Previously, the longer a player waited, the looser our restrictions on the skill difference could potentially be. This is still true, but the range has been more condensed. However, there have been some downsides to these changes. Some of them are unforeseen. Queue times have risen in unranked a bit. Yeah, here we go. And for groups with large skill differentials, they've risen quite a bit. This should not apply in quick play. Quick play should just be quick play. It should be fast, 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 fast. The fact that quick play is under the same rules as comp queue basically just confirms to me my theory I've had on stream, and I've talked about it a few times, where comp is comp and quick play is comp light. It's the same fucking thing. There is no difference nowadays between quick play and comp. I might as well just play comp if I'm going to play quick play, because it's the same matchmaking. There's no difference. So why wait 5 to 6 minutes in a quick play game when I could just wait 3 to 4 minutes and get a comp game? Quick play and comp queues should not have the same skill-based matchmaking. Skill-based matchmaking is good. It keeps from people like me just terrorizing all the poor bronze and silver players, just stomping my way through them. Don't get me wrong, I would probably have a blast, but I understand that's not a good idea. But this also applies to things like unranked mystery heroes and also to arcade, and it sucks. It's less toxicity in quick play. No, we're not having a toxicity in quick play conversation. If you're somebody who bitches at people in quick play and asks them to swap and, you know, can you play this or can we group up? I'm sorry, you're just a fucking nerd, dude. Like, you're just a nerd. Like, go play comp. Quick play is supposed to be for fun. That's the whole point. Literally, if people are toxic in quick play, they actually just have the brain of a peanut. Just leave them. Just disregard them. Don't even talk to them. We've made changes here, and queue times for unranked are already moving lower. We've also heard from players that are experiencing large win/loss streaks in game. To be clear, we don't try to cause or prevent streaks based on the ideal win rate for players. We're studying these reports and we'll share them. More information we got it. So like the idea of winners queue and losers queue. They've come out again and said, hey, that's not real. The issue we're hearing most from our players is encouraging people from vastly different skill levels in their ranked games. Here it is. Prior to Season 3, the worst 5% of Grandmaster level matches would have players 7 divisions apart. Interesting. The equivalent of Gold 3 to Silver 5. When we initially shipped 2.3, this leaped to 12 divisions apart or greater. We have made numerous changes since then, and we are making changes almost daily. And this has also been reduced to 9 divisions. We have made additional changes planned for the mid-season that should improve this further. Okay, that's it. Talk to you all soon. I'll see you in the game. Okay, so basically the big problem people have is, let's say I'm GM1 on tank, I queue into a game, and one of my supports is Plat 5, or Plat 4, or Plat 1, like something like that. Like, they're literally Plat, or even Diamond 5. Like, they're at the bottom, you know? And it's like, bottom of Diamond. And it's just like, dude, what? And like, the problem with that is because the speed of GM and Diamond is universes apart. So like the Diamond players can't keep up. So it actually increases like toxicity, and the GM players start bitching at the Diamond players and like, you know, what are you doing? And they're like, I don't know, like I didn't ask to be here. So that's kind of a problem, but I also enjoy the fast queues. So I'm a bit on the fence. I don't know. We'll see. But nice to get an update. I basically every take that I had with Zen, Brig, Ball, and Rhine was right on the money. Sigma even as well. I said Sigma was really, really good. Right on the money. So I don't know. This basically just confirmed every prediction I made, and I don't know. We'll see how the mid-season patch goes. Nice update.